Today on Making It Fun, we are talking all about wide backs. Hey man, this is supposed to be a family-friendly show. Sorry about my little buddy there. He thinks he's quite the dancer. Let's get started with today's show. I am Rob Appell from Michael Miller Fabrics. Welcome to Making It Fun. And yes, if you are not aware, Michael Miller Fabrics has fantastic wide backs. And what I want to do real fun and real quickly today is talk about some of the other things we can do with wide backs. But if you've never, would you please stop doing that? If you've never worked with wide backs, let's talk a little bit about what wide backs are before I even show you some of the fantastic new ones we have coming your direction right now from Michael Miller Fabrics. So, you know you've put together all of that work and made a beautiful patchwork front on your quilt, let's say, right? So you've got all this patchwork work done, and you're so done doing the patchwork that when you're ready to put that on the back, you don't want any more patches. So you want to use something fantastic that will cover the entire back of the quilt in a single piece of fabric. Maybe. So that being said, a lot of times the quilts get so large that the 45-inch regular goods, the regular cotton quilting goods, aren't wide enough. So you have to do something like this, where you take a couple of pieces of fabric and you just patch them together, match them together, and it works just fine and it's terrific, but it does take more work and it often leaves some odd scraps or pieces left over. No problem. Great place to start your next quilt, right? With scraps, odd pieces left over. But if you're not into that kind of thing, excuse me a second. If you're not into that kind of thing, you can go out and purchase some of these wonderful wide back fabrics. And our wide backs are 108 inches wide, right? So that's like 4 times the 45. And they're over 200 thread count, which means they're super dense and wonderful for free motion machine quilting, regular machine quilting, and also long arm quilting, as well as all kinds of other uses. So I thought it would be really fun to talk to you about some of the things I've done in the past with our wide backs from Michael Miller. So what I want to show you at this moment, and you do have to forgive me, I've been using the wide backs for quite some time. So even one of the colors I'm going to show you, I believe is no longer available, but I've got a fantastic one that's updated. So as we dive into our wide backs, this is what we have, this beautiful card, this beautiful board, and you can find these at your local quilt shop. So we've got some fun geometrics, we've got some little stars, we've got this wonderful little cat print here, we've got some wonderful script. You can see here, this has been one of my all-time favorites, and a lot of times when working with a wide back, you want something that's kind of indescript, so it just fits the back of a lot of different projects. We've got these beautiful new color wash sprays. If you look at that here, that's one version. Here you can see it just like this is a whole other version with all of the rich earth tones available. This is also fantastic, right? So at any rate, we've got these fantastic colors coming down the road, and I also just want to point out really quickly, we've got some of the wonderful City Hopper fabrics. That was Lisa Glanz's premier line with us at Michael Miller, and it's this really cute little fabric of this little town, right? And so we've made like a roadmap wide back that you can put on the back of a quilt. Fantastic for throwing on the ground and playing cars or trains or whatever you like to do when you're on the ground, other than basting a quilt, of course. And that's part of this is one of the things that works so good with the wide backs is it really is helpful in a lot of the work in quilt making as well. So let's jump into today's lesson plan. Like I said, I've got several things I've done in the past using our wide backs. The first one, and this is the one that is so old or out of date, we no longer feature this light gray color, but we've got this wonderful dark gray color, and I think you saw on the card just a moment ago, a beautiful navy blue combination too. So I love this geometric, but I used this years and years ago to create a beautiful ironing board cover because it was wide enough on my extra wide ironing board to be able to wrap it around and still be able to make the tunnels for the actual cord to go in. So that's a fantastic use of a wide back like that, a little bit larger, and is just terrific. While we're talking about things around the home, of course you could do it for something like curtains because it is so large. You can purchase the running yardage you need in the other direction and cover those large windows and give yourself a little bit of privacy. Speaking of privacy, add a few chairs and a couple of throw pillows and you've got the perfect fort. Check this out. I'd also like to point out that just because they're 4 times the size doesn't mean they're 4 times the price. So using the wide backs can not only be often efficient, but very affordable as well for the backing choices or all of these other awesome projects. Leader strips on your long arm. So yeah, once I put the long arm in the studio on these bars to make life so much easier, I had to buy running yardage. So I bought over 2 yards of fabric so that I wouldn't have any seams. And I put on our cotton couture because I wanted the high density fabric. I wanted that wonderful grain so that nothing would stretch. And now what we can do with this is I'm just gonna take this and I can technically come on here and I would pin, of course it would be right sides down because of the wide back, but I would take this then and I'm going to pin this leader strip with my safety pins as I get ready to go ahead and put together my quilting for the long arm. Oh, there's always a ghost costume. Whoa. Oh, toga, dude. So if you're ready to party like I was at the laundromat, you could also, yes, I lived in one of those houses that was too far up a hill and we didn't have washer and dryer. And so I made my wife and I these giant laundry bags so we could put all of our dirty and clean clothes in them as we went back and forth to the laundromat because I didn't want to make multiple trips. So I just made one giant bag to carry my stuff in. And speaking of a giant bag to carry your stuff in, you could always do the ultimate, hobo sack, right? That's pretty awesome. Oh, but wait, I've got 2 more ideas. Of course, you could always use it on the front of a minky quilt, a whole cloth quilt, or the back of a quilt. It is called wide back. Dude, I told you to stop doing that, please. Last but not least, and again, I'm so glad you are here for today's entertaining, informative, educational video. With 1 yard, 36 inches by 108 inches, you can get 56 rectangles to make yourself a face mask, right? So 28 masks, 58 rectangles, and all of those other wonderful ideas of the things you can do with our fantastic high density, beautiful thread count, beautiful hand wide backs we have for all of you right here at Michael Miller Fabrics. Please check with your local quilt shop, whether you visit them in person or online. Be creative, stay safe, happy sewing, and we'll see you real soon. What? Are you actually still here? That's fantastic. Make sure you check out some more of my other fabulous content right here on YouTube. I think it's terrific. Please subscribe while you're there and make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss another moment of the fun.